Hello! I am going to teach you today how to make grid paper if you don't already own some. This is going to be helpful for the art project you're going to do this week, as well as if you ever need grid paper. So you will need lined paper. Technically, you can do this without lined paper. You can use just a ruler and measure things out. That I shouldn't need to teach you, but I'm showing you a good technique. And with this, you'll also need either a ruler or something with it can be a ruler or just something with a straight edge. A book works, a box works, like a box from your kitchen. Actually, I might use this instead of my ruler. And a pen or marker. Ideally, it should be fairly thin, and blue is the best option for this, okay? Assuming that your lined paper has blue lines. I might switch to a black pen or a black marker so that you guys can see on the video, but I want you to use blue if you have it, black if you don't. Pencil doesn't really work because as you draw and erase in pencil, it'll ruin up your whole project. So, we have here our paper, regular lined paper, and what you're going to do is take the top corner where you have with the pink and the dot, and you're going to fold it over all the way to the corner. Let me turn it sideways so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Make sure it's lined up so that it forms a perfect rectangle, and then you don't need to flatten it too hard, but you do need to flatten it hard enough that you know it's truly flat and truly lined up. Okay? Think about if you're making a paper triangle or square, all right? And then you want to take your blue marker, and do you see how we have these up and down lines that are now intersecting with these side to side lines? That's what we want. Mine is annoying because it happens to be printed imperfectly, but it's good enough that I can still do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tiny little tick mark. Do you see that? Going from these lines on the lined paper and extend it down. You don't have to draw on the folded half. I'm doing that so that you can see, since I know it's hard to see the lined paper on the camera. So I'm going along the line and then down onto the other sheet. Just a light little tick mark. Go all the way across. Take your time. If you need to pause me so that you can draw nice, even, straight lines, please pause me. Eventually, you're going to run out of space. Don't guess. You can either use a ruler and figure out how far apart those are, or just stop. I'm going to just stop. So now your paper should look like this. It should have a whole bunch of little dots, little marks across the bottom. And now we need to have two marks because in order to create a straight line, you need 2 points to base it off of. So I'm just checking my lines to make sure they look good. Next, you're going to take the bottom corner, also with the pink and also with the dot, and fold it up and over. Now, something I want to point out. This grid paper might not be 100% perfect, okay? This technique, because the way lined paper is made, oh, sorry, then you're going to repeat the procedure. So the same thing you did last time. Draw those little lines and extend them down. Now, as I was going to say, this technique works to make graph paper in a pinch. However, it's not going to be perfect graph paper. If you want to do perfect graph paper, I will show you what to do as soon as I'm done with this. But it will make good enough graph paper for doing middle school level math, middle school level art. But when you get to high school, if you're out of graph paper, you might not find this technique good enough. Okay. Now, by the way, as I said, I was going to promise you how to make a perfect one. So with our original line, what you would do if you wanted to make it perfect, you would measure the distance between them and then move those measurements and mark tick, 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 tick. Okay, but we're going with the simpler form. Now I've got on my paper 2 sets of tick marks. Over here, and now I'm going to use my ruler and line them up as best as I can. Let me see if there's any that are... And all of them are going to be at a slight angle. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, so they're all at a slight angle. Like I said, this isn't perfect graph paper. So once you find the way that you're going to line them up, go ahead and start crisscrossing across. Use your same blue marker and that straight edge thing, that box or that ruler. I'll switch to show you with a box. Connect all the way across. And again, don't rush. Just take your time. Another thing you can do to make grid paper with lined paper is set 2 pieces of lined paper over one another and trace the lines that they form. Okay. Now I still have these lines up here to do, but this is enough that I can show you. I chose blue so that it wasn't going to be completely overtaken by the other lines. It's still kind of difficult to see, but it looks clearer in real life. Do you see how I've now created a grid? I have now created grid paper. So this grid paper is going to be absolutely good enough for the art project that I will show you in the next video. So I will finish out with my grid paper, and you can click that link so that you can follow along with our next step. Thanks, guys. All done. Grid paper.